Hey, welcome back. It's still Poetry Month, and today I'm going to read a poem entitled Neglect by R.T. Smith. Neglect. Is the scent of apple boughs smoking in the wood stove what I will remember of the red delicious I brought down, ashamed that I could not convince its limbs to render fruit? Too much neglect will do that. Skew the sap's passage, blacken leaves, dry the bark and heart. I should have locked the dead limbs early and watched each branch with a goshawk's eye, patching with medicinal pitch, offering water, compost, and mulch. But I was too enchanted by pear saplings, flowers, and the pasture, too callow to believe that death's inevitable for any living being unloved, untended. What remains is this armload of applewood now feeding the stove's smolder. Splendor ripens a final time in the firebox, a scarlet harvest headed by dawn to embers. 2 decades of shade and blossoms, tarts and cider, bees dazzled by the pollen, spare elegance in ice. But what goes is gone. Smoke is all. Through this lesson in winter regret, I've been given to remember. Smoke and red delicious apples, redder than a passing cardinal's crest or cinders. There are so many beautiful and fantastic things about this poem. Really, you should read it a couple of times through. If you look up Poetry 180, which is a project put forward by Billy Collins to put poetry in the hands of American high school students, you'll find this poem as number 14. Yesterday, my students and I were practicing for an IB exam, paper 1 if you're an IB student, which involves looking at a piece of poetry or a piece of prose you've not seen before and analyzing it. Poetry 180 site is great for this because you can have them pick a random number and pull up a poem that none of us have looked at before, and there it is. This was the first that my 5th period pulled up, and boy is it rich. Not only is the form and the language and the alliteration so complex and interesting, but the tone moving throughout this poem is so poignant. Blending that with the imagery, the idea of regret and a feeling of guilt over the neglect you gave to a tree seems fairly superficial and unimportant until you hear the depths of this poem. That middle bit where he's too enchanted by the pear saplings, the flowers, and the pasture sounds a little lighthearted, but then quickly switches to something very heavy. Too callow to believe that death's inevitable for any living being unloved, untended. There's something that resonates much stronger there and seems to be about so much more than simply a dead tree. But the poem doesn't leave you in grief, it does move to a kind of acceptance and capturing the red beauty of the apple compared to the flash of a cardinal and also the red of the embers of the burning tree. This is such a gorgeous poem, and I really want to read a whole lot more by R.T. Smith now. If you get a chance, check out the poem on paper because the more times you read it, I think the more you can get out of it. And continue to enjoy your Poetry Month. And I'll see you tomorrow with another poem. You can click to subscribe or to watch another video. See ya. Bye.